movie review from me, Cody Reed. This one is for Exodus, Gods and Kings, directed by Ridley Scott, who has directed a bunch of other epic and old tales before, a lot of epic stories. This one stars Christian Bale and Joel Edgerton, and they star as Moses and Ramses, that epic biblical tale of Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt, because we know they were slaves, and Moses, finding out he's a Hebrew, he wants to lead his people out from God's command, away from Pharaoh and the Egyptians. If you don't really know about that story about Moses and Ramses, you might live under a rock. Even if you aren't Christian, you probably know about that story, so hopefully I'm not ruining anything by discussing that or anything else in this review. Now going in, I was expecting a really epic tale, and what I got was a kind of epic tale. The first half of the movie, if you go to see it, you'll find it's a little slower. It's kind of like a slow building story, so there's a lot of background and there's different plot points happening for the movie to lead to the second part. So the first part of the movie is kind of slow. It has some like weird pacing and editing for the first half, but after you get to the second part, you know, with the plagues and after he gets God's command to go release the slaves, that second half of the movie is when the epicness really starts to build up. And the, I wouldn't say action, but like some action sequences and the more intense parts start to build up. So I really like the second half of the movie better than the first. Now, if you've seen The Prince of Egypt, that story focuses on the relationship between Moses and Ramses really well. And that's the same way with Exodus, Gods and Kings. If you go to see this movie, you'll see that the tale focuses again on that relationship, that brotherly relationship that Moses and Ramses has together. And that's where Christian Bale and Joel Edgerton really shine, I think. I think they both did a really great job. Kind of going into the movie, I was like, what? Batman, Christian Bale as Moses, and Ramses as Joel Edgerton. He was in Warrior and some other things. But actually, you know, at least halfway through the movie, you start really getting into their portrayal of the characters. And I actually thought they did a really good job, especially Christian Bale as Moses. You kind of see his beard grow throughout the movie, and he starts becoming this leader as Moses. And so I thought they both did a really great job. The effects were great. I mean, you kind of see the outline and the lay of the land of Egypt and the setting, and so it really looked great as well. I mean, they did a really good job though on the plagues, because the plagues lasted a good, I don't even know, like 20 minutes maybe or something, but they show a lot of the plagues happening, and it uses a great transition to the final act of the movie, but all the plagues coming and Ramses still holding his ground, and so that was another great part of the movie. But it had a more literal take maybe on the burning bush scene and the parting of the Red Sea. I was kind of expecting something from Ten Commandments or Plagues of Egypt with this epicness, and then I was kind of let down like, oh, that's a different take on it. I mean, it was kind of depressing at times too. It was this, and I know it's not supposed to be a happy-go-lucky story, but at least, Prince of Egypt had a little bit of humor and some music and dancing it, such as la 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 la. Sorry about that. No more singing and dancing, but you get what I was talking about. The Through the Heaven's Eyes song that they have, and If You Just Believe, and Let My People Go, and they had, it seemed more intense like that way. But Prince of Egypt, it had some of that humor and that musical parts to it. Ten Commandments was epic, and the lead actor was great, Charleston Heston, and but this one was just kind of depressing at times. I wish it had maybe a slight more humor, or maybe seeing more of the relationship between Moses and Ramses. I don't know. Just some suggestions to them, but yeah. So to wrap things up, if you're on the fence about this movie, go see it if you like biblical stories, maybe with a little more, I guess, modern take on it, or with some updated effects. But if you like some of those older classics, or such as like Ten Commandments, or kind of sticking more to what actually happened in the Bible, that kind of story, you might want to pass, maybe just wait for it. But I guess if you like an updated tale or a telling of the story, then go see Exodus, Gods and Kings. Overall, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Like I mentioned, the acting was great, the visuals were great. It did have some epic parts, but it was a slight letdown from what I was expecting. I was expecting a little more intense scenes, a little more epicness, and it kind of brought that down a little bit for me. But more importantly, what did you think of the movie? Have you seen Exodus, Gods and Kings? Leave a comment and tell me what your thoughts were, and like this video if you liked it. But also make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get updates on my further reviews that I'll post later on. And then lastly, to get updates on any movie news and other posts, feel free to follow me at Facebook and Twitter at Movie Reviews, or send me an email if you have any questions at moviereviews@gmail.com, and I'll make sure to answer those as well. Thanks so much for watching, and happy viewing.
Exodus, Gods and Kings. It's a pretty good movie, but Ramses, he's gotta let my people go. Let my people go, Ramses. But it has Christian Bale in it, so I give it a 9 out of 10 bat signals.